ॐ वक्रतुण्ड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। ॐ श्री महागणपतये नमः। ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणम्। सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ श्रीमेधा दक्षिणामूर्तिस्वामिने नमः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ। ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः स्तुष्ट्वागुंसस्तनूभिः यशेम देवहितं यदायुः। स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति न पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्ठनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ। So namaste once again everyone.
Hari Om Guruji.
Hari
Good
Om.
evening.
Namaste.
Hari Om Guruji.
Hari Om.
Namaskaram Guruji.
Namaskaram. Namaskaram. We will chant the Sangati Bhashyam. Yad Brahmanah Utpadyamanam Vishwam Tad Anena Kramena Utpadyate Na Yugapad Batara Mushti Prakshepavat Iti Kramaniyama Vivakshartaha Ayam Mantra Arabhyate. So this is the Sangati Bhashyam for the 8th mantra. So after completing the discussion on mantra number 7, we entered the discussion on mantra number 8 with this introductory Bhashyam. And as I said, in this mantra also, the same topic of creation of the world out of Akshara Brahman continues. And here in this mantra, the order of creation is given. How the creation is evolved out of Brahman. And as we noted, some other Upanishads also talk about how, that is, in what sequential order this universe was created. Though the essence of the creation process is the same in all Upanishads, each of them differ from each other in some details. But that should not create any confusion or bother us, because fundamentally the Upanishads consider the universe as mithya, just as an appearance, So from the standpoint of absolute reality, the universe is not real. It appears real from a transactional point of view. That is all. And therefore, differences in the description of what is mithya need not bother us. For example, if you are watching two magic shows, in one, the magician produces a rabbit from a hat, and another, he produces a rabbit from a small box. How will it matter to us whether the rabbit comes out of a hat or a box? As long as we know, we understand that the whole thing is just magic. It is all Maya. It is only an appearance projected by the magician by using his magical powers. And in fact, one of the names for magic in Sanskrit is Maya. Maya, Jalam, and all we say, no? So similarly, using its Maya power or using his Maya power, Ishvara, the universal magician, creates the world which is only an appearance. And therefore, differences in the description of the creation between Upanishads need not disturb us. And therefore, there is no conflict between what one Upanishad says and what another Upanishad says when it comes to the description of the sequential order of the world, as long as we understand the essence. And what is the essence? Brahman is the Jagat Karanam. Brahman has created this world. Brahman is Satyam. The entire world is Mithya. All Upanishads are very uniform in this message. And that is what we must absorb from the message of the universe, the Upanishads. Now, in the introduction, Bhashyakara is addressing one important question that may arise when we talk about the creation of the universe. And what is that? And that is whether this universe was created in one shot. That is, everything in the universe came into being at once, or the creation was a gradual process. But here again, there is no clarity among the other theologies. As we saw earlier in Islam, it is said that the world was created in 6 days. Some believe that the universe was created in one shot and everything came into being simultaneously. However, the essence of the teaching of all the Upanishads is that the universe was created gradually in stages. And this mantra also shows that the universe emerges gradually rather than abruptly and simultaneously. It's a gradual process from subtler level to the grosser level. And as I said, this is required to be stated because there are exceptions to this process. And one example of the exception we noted was our dream experience, where we create the dream universe every night in one shot. We go to sleep. Yeah, of course, one thing is coming of the sleep itself, we are not aware. Suddenly we would have gone to sleep without any, without being aware that we are asleep. And then the dream world comes, projected. Like we enter a movie hall, the film comes, movie comes. And there is no gradual process in the unfolding of the dream. So here, in this introduction itself, Bhashyakara states that this world, this universe, is born of Brahman, in the following order or sequence. That is the order or sequence stated in the mantra. And he further clarifies that the world is not created simultaneously. It is not created in one go. It evolves in various stages in a particular order. So the creation process is na yugapad, not simultaneously. And in order to highlight what can happen simultaneously, he gives the example of throwing a handful of badari, a type of berry, in the air. Suppose you take a handful of this badari fruit and throw it up. They will all fall down simultaneously, isn't it? All of them will fall together, or we can say almost fall, together. Maybe one or two, maybe little bigger ones, slightly few nanoseconds late. But then generally they will all fall together, hit the ground same time. And that is called Yugapat, simultaneously. So here he says, na Yugapat, not simultaneously, badara mushti prakshepavad. Vad means, vad connotes like. So unlike a handful of berries thrown up, will all fall down simultaneously, the creation follows krama niyama vivaksha artha. Artha means for the purpose of, vivaksha, revealing, krama, the order, niyama, the rule, iti, in this manner. Ayam mantra arabhyate. Ayam means this, mantra arabhyate means this mantra is begun. Or we can say that this is what this mantra states. So, unlike a handful of berries thrown up will all fall down simultaneously. This mantra is started in this manner for the purpose of revealing the rule or the order in the creation, sequential order in which creation happens. Actually, this word, the derivation of this word vivaksha is vaktum icha vivaksha. The exact translation would be desire to reveal. Icha means desire. So desire to reveal the order. Desire to reveal the rule regarding the order. But when you say desire to reveal and all, it sounds a little bit funny in English, isn't it? Even though literally we can still translate it with the desire to reveal the rule regarding the order. But here, to make it simple, we have translated vivaksha as revealing. So vivakshartha means for the purpose of revealing. It's not that it's going to make any difference in understanding. But then, there are some, in these classes, of course, I'm not talking about our class, but in other classes, some very, very senior Sanskrit students will be there who would know every, derivation of every word. They may challenge. Vivaksha does not mean revealing. It means desire to reveal. So how you can translate as revealing? They will challenge the Acharya. So in order to clarify to such students, if at all they are, such Acharyas normally clarify this. My Acharya in the Gurukulam clarified this point, so I thought I will share it with you. But anyhow, all these are not important. They are all aside remarks. Maybe it will be of interest for students who are seriously pursuing Sanskrit learning. So in this mantra, this mantra is started for the purpose of revealing the rule regarding the order of creation. Now we will read the mantra. Tapasa chiyate brahma
Tapasa
Tapasa
chiyate
chiyate
brahma
brahma
tato namabhijayate
tato
tato
namabhijayate
namabhijayate
annat prano manaha
annat
anna prano
prano
manaha
satyam lokaha
satyam lokaha
karmasu chamritam.
karmasu
brahmasutramritam.
chamritam.
So I'll give you the padacheda, splitting the words. Tapasa chiyate brahma tataha annam abhijayate. Annat pranaha manaha satyam lokaha karmasu cha amritam. In fact, this mantra is one of the most obscure mantra, highly technical mantra, where most of the words do not have the regular meaning. If you refer to this mantra, these words in the dictionary, you will not find them. You will not find the meaning. They all have non-dictionary meaning, irregular meanings are there. Not all the words, of course, most of the words. And the Bhashyam, which Bhashyakara is written, is further technical. As if it was not enough. Bhashyakara adds some more details. So it's a highly complicated, I wouldn't call it complicated, but needs a lot of focus to understand this mantra. So first let us understand what is the idea conveyed. Then we will understand the words of the mantra. Then we will go to the Bhashya. For understanding the idea, we have to first understand that we are what is called Satkaryavadinah. These are all terminologies in Vedanta Vichara. Satkaryavadi means a person who is having the view that any product always existed in its potential form in the cause. Like what? Like a tree exists in the seed in potential form. So all products, karyani, exists in the cause in potential form in an unmanifest form. And therefore, there is nothing called creation. Creation is nothing but the unmanifest becomes manifest. Like we get butter from milk. The butter, which is a product, must be there in the milk, which is the cause. Isn't it? What we call
Guruji, still problem. Audio.
Sorry?
Not good.
Not audible.
Audible, Guruji. Clear only.
Clear?
Yes, Guruji.
So maybe some local problem for one of the students.
Maybe.
Yeah. Who is having the problem?
For me, it is very much audible.
Satish ji is having problem, Guruji.
Satish ji is having problem. Okay.
Satish ji, it is heard clearly, properly.
Okay.
I think the problem must be at his
Local,
end.
yeah, local problem. So the butter, which is a product, must be there in the milk, which is what we say fat, and milk is the cause. Otherwise, if the butter was not in the milk, we will not get butter from milk. So this is the first point we have to understand, that we are what is called Satkaryavadinah. And we extend this logic to the entire universe. we see the world in the individual products in the world. The world also is a product of which Brahman is the ultimate cause. So when we say Brahman is all pervasive, that is what we mean. Of course, all these things take a little time for some people to accept that the world is a product. And therefore, Pujya Swamiji used to emphasize this idea again and again. He said the world is intelligently put together because if you observe, there is a design in the creation. The world is not just merely objects or things, but everything is organized very intelligently. Just to observe the planetary motions, perfectly synchronized. The whole sustenance of this world depends upon the speed with which the earth rotates around the sun. If there is some slight disturbance, earth cannot say, oh, I have been rotating around the sun for all these millions of years. Now let me slow down a little. If the earth says that, what will happen to the world? So you can imagine the catastrophe if there is even a slight deviation in their orbit. And that is why Pujya Swamiji says you have to appreciate, that the whole universe is intelligently put together. It is not just something, suddenly it came up or something like that. So it's a product, and this product is called universe like any other product. Must be there in its potential form. Like that, this universal also must be there in its potential form in Akshara Brahman. And here, of course, we have got Shruti Pramanam for that. The universe is in its causal form is called Karana Prapancha, otherwise called Abhyakrita or Abhyakta or Bijam or Prakriti or Maya. So many words are there to denote the world in its potential form. So Maya, Prakriti, etc. are resting on Brahman. They are not a separate entity. They are part and parcel of Brahman. And this Brahman, along with Maya, Prakriti, etc., is called Ishwara. We have all seen, all these ideas in many contexts earlier also. But whenever the opportunity comes, whenever the context comes, we have to recall all these things. Because one of the things is, since we are so much lost in worldly affairs, in our day-to-day business, that even if we have learned everything very well, there are high possibilities that we may actually, may not be able to recall this at the right time. Once we are told, yes, I have already seen this, I have already heard this, we have discussed this, I have understood this. So Maya plus Brahman or Brahman plus Maya is called Ishwara. And when we say Brahman plus Maya is Ishwara, we are not talking about two entities, mind you, because Maya has no independent existence. Its existence is dependent on Brahman alone, and therefore Maya is just an appearance, just names and forms of that one entity, Brahman. And that is why this Maya is called Mithya and Brahman as Satyam. Now, Satyam and Mithya are not antonyms or opposite words. Because that is what we always think. Our orientation is that. Suppose you say, what is the opposite of mithya? Satyam. Because we translate Satyam as truth and Maya as mithya as false. Actually, the word mithya does not mean false. Mithya means it doesn't have independent existence. So, from Paramarthika Drishtya, it is mithya. So, we cannot count Brahman and Maya as two entities. It is just like, there is a person who is standing in front of a mirror and we see his reflection. Now, we cannot count the reflection, which is just an appearance along with the person. There are no two entities. It is this understanding which is the foundation of the entire Advaita Vedanta. So, this Satyam Brahman with Mithya Maya is the first stage of creation. And that Maya, which is the potential world, evolves into this world. But not simultaneously, not in one go. It evolves in stages. That Maya first evolves into Sushma Prapancha, the subtle universe. In fact, for Tattva Bodha students, these are all, only revision of what we have learned even in Tattva Bodha. So first, it was causal potential universe in the form of Maya. Now it evolves into Sukshma Prapancha, the subtle universe. That is the second stage. And in the third stage, it evolves into the gross universe, the Sthula Prapancha, the universe which we can see, perceive, experience, transact with. And therefore, we can say creation involves three stages. First, Karana Prapancha, then Sukshma Prapancha, and Sthula Prapancha. Potential universe, subtle universe, and gross universe. And Brahman with Karana Prapancha is called Ishvara. Brahman with Sushma Prapancha is called Hiranyagarbha. Brahman with Sthula Prapancha is called Virat. All these terminologies from Tattva Bodha. And in fact, Tattva Bodha has actually exposed us to these terminologies of Vedanta. So Ishvara evolves into Hiranyagarbha. Hiranyagarbha evolves into Virat. These are the three stages, broadly speaking. And in this mantra, each one of them is further subdivided into two. So the Karana Prapancha or Karana Avastha will be subdivided into two stages. Then Sukshma Avastha subdivided into two stages. And Sthula Avastha also subdivided into two stages. So now we have got how many stages of creation? We have got 6 stages of creation. For ease of understanding, let us label the 2 substages, of each avastha as A and B. So we have Karana Avastha A and Karana Avastha B. Sukshma Avastha A, Sukshma Avastha B. And Sthula Avastha A and Sthula Avastha B. So we have 6 stages, or we can say substages. Now, in this mantra, each stage has been given a name. We have already seen that the seed of creation or Maya is called Avyakritam or Avyakta, Prakriti, etc. And therefore, Karana Avastha A is given the name of Avyakritam. From that Avyakritam, the second substage evolves, which is called Annam here. So the Karana Avastha B is given the name Annam. That's a very, very strange. Normally, Annam means what? Food. Rice is called Annam. Food is called Annam. If you look at dictionary, it will say Annam means food. Nowhere in the dictionary you will find that one of the names or the name of Karana Avastha B is called Annam. But that is what this Upanishad does. So both the words are used, Avyakrita and Annam, two stages of Karana Prapancha. So now question is, what is the difference between these two stages? The Avyakrita is an unmanifest or potential world. The world in its potential form is called Avyakrita. And this Avyakrita, when it comes to a ready mode, the mode of readiness, ready to be evolved into the Sukshma Prapancha, ready to start, that stage of Karana Prapancha is called here Annam. So first, the potential world itself is called Avyakrita. Second one is called Annam, the ready stage of Avyakrita. It is just like, giving the example of a childbirth. The entire child is in Avyakrita, potential form for 9 months or whatever it is in the mother's womb. When the labor pains start, that is, the child is ready to be born. So you can understand, Avyakrita is that potential stage for all along 9 months, and when the labor pains start, that is called Annam. Annam is a very interesting name. As I said, Annam means food that is consumed by all. But Bhashyakara will define Annam as Adyate Bhujyate. So this Avyakrita, which is now ready to be evolved, is going to become Bhojya, eatable, the object of consumption by the jivas later on. And therefore, now itself it is called Annam. It is an object of enjoyment. This is the Karana Prapancha stage. And we refer to the combined Karana Prapancha stage as Ishwaraha. Then comes this Sukshma Prapancha, where also there are two stages, Sukshma Prapancha A and Sukshma Prapancha B. Sukshma Prapancha A is here called Pranaha, and Sukshma Prapancha B is called Manaha. And here the word Pranaha refers to the Samashti Pranaha. And Manaha also refers to the Samashti Manaha, macro. And both of them put together are called Hiranyagarbha. So generally we say from Ishvara Hiranyagarbha is born. But here the mantra is being more specific in terms of the stages of evolution. So from Ishvara, first comes Pranaha and then comes Manaha. As I said, even if you actually look at the baby, growth of a baby in the womb. I talked about the birth of the baby. But even in the womb, if you actually observe or you study the growth of the baby, the pranamaya kosha becomes active first. And that is why the baby gets hungry and gets nourishment from the mother in the womb. Afterwards alone, the manomaya kosha develops. And then the baby becomes aware of its surroundings. It becomes active. It starts kicking. You know, I mean, one of the very important experiences of to be parents. The mother can actually feel the kicks of the baby alive. And many times, of course, in our families, that mother will call her husband and take his hand and put it in that part where she is experiencing the kicking. You know, she'll say, "You see, the child is kicking, baby is kicking," and the husband also can actually feel that. You know, put your hand in the stomach, you can feel that pressure of kicking. Such a beautiful creation is such a beautiful thing. So the same process which takes place at the individual level, at the macro level, it is extended to the total. So what happens in the micro level is extended to at the macro level. Therefore, first samashti, and then what we are seeing is individual is extended to the total. And therefore, it is first said that samashti pranaha is born, and later on samashti manaha is born. Bhashyakara will elaborate on these two stages of evolution. So, 4 stages are over. Avyakta or Abhyakrita, Annam, Pranaha, Manaha. Then from that Sukshma Prapancha, consisting of these two, this Pranaha and Manaha, this Stula Prapancha is born. And again, this Stula Prapancha is also divided into 2. First is called Satyam, and second is called Lokaha. Here, Satyam means Stula Mahabhutas, Pancha Mahabhutas, in Stula form. So, these Pancha Mahabhutas are called Satyam. Again, as I said, irregular meaning. Interesting. Satyam here doesn't mean truth. Satyam here means Panchastula Mahabhutas. And this meaning is also based on Shruti only. It is not that somebody has thought about it. Everything, the Pramanam is Shruti. This word Satyam is explained in the Upanishads. Sat, the word Sat stands for Murta Bhutas. Murta Stula Bhutas, which means the Mahabhutas, which have got form. Agni, Jala and Prithvi, which have forms. Therefore, can be perceived by the eyes, the sight faculty. So these 3 are called Sat. Then Tyam is there, second part of Satyam. Tyam refers to Amurta Bhutas. Amurta Pancha Mahabhutas. They are what? Vayu and Akasha, which are formless. So Sat and Tyam become Satyam. So Satyam is equal to Murta Stula Mahabhutas and Amurta Stula Mahabhutas. So Satyam here refers to the Pancha Mahabhutas, all of them, all five of them. So Pancha Stula Mahabhutas are called Satyam. I hope I'm not confusing you people. And that's why I told, that it's a highly technical mantra where most of the words used do not have regular meaning. They all have non-dictionary meaning, irregular meanings are there. And that is why, we require a guru, a traditional teacher who has studied all the Upanishads, or at least the most important Upanishads, and then can expound the meanings of the words depending upon the context. If we take the dictionary meaning of the word Satyam as truth, this mantra will make no sense. Even if we take the meaning of Annam as food, we'll say, what is this? This Upanishad talking about food and truth and all that. What does this mantra convey? And all our pranams, namaskaras to Bhashyakara. And of course, Vyasacharya also, who actually, I wouldn't say composed these mantras, but who organized these mantras, Upanishads, so that we have the text for us to study and understand. So that is stage one, Stula Prapancha. From Sukshma Mahabhutas, Sukshma Prapancha, the Stula Mahabhutas are born. And this Stula Prapancha, A is born. Then from the Stula Mahabhutas, Loka hai, the 14 Lokas, 7 up and 7 down, they are born. The word Loka hai has the regular meaning worlds. That is Stula Prapancha stage B. So we need not think that Loka has got some other meaning. It's a regular meaning only. Worlds, Loka hai, plural. That is the Stula Prapancha stage B. So now in these 6 stages, this creation comes about. So the 6 stages are Avyakrita, Annam, referring to Karana Prapancha. Then from that, Pranaha, Manaha, referring to Sukshma Prapancha. Then from that, Satyam and Lokaha, referring to Stula Prapancha. These are the stages of creation described in this mantra. And then afterwards, what happens? Afterwards, all these living and non-living beings are born. All living things, once they come, especially human beings, when they come, they will not keep quiet. And therefore, karma will happen. Action will happen. They will do some mischiefs. I mean, both type of karmas, good karmas and dharmic karmas and adharmic karmas. So karma takes place. Then there will be karma phalam. And for karma phalam, in the form of papa and punya, they have to be exhausted in the form of different experiences, for which Bhagavan has already kept the world ready. Okay, you are born, you have karma phalam, you have punya and papa, you have to exhaust those punya and papa by experiencing them. How will you experience them? You can't experience them in void. So I am providing you this entire loka hai, 7 up and 7 down, to experience your karma phala. He keeps the world ready for us. And thus the 6 stages of creation is going on in this manner. And then what happens? Then pralaya comes. even during Pralaya, even during Mahapralaya. Now, what is the difference, you may ask, Pralaya and Mahapralaya? Pralaya comes after the end of each Chaturyuga. Mahapralaya comes at the end of a Kalpa, at the end of Brahmaji's life. We will see all those mantras later. So the karma phala, the punya papa, they don't get destroyed at all in Pralaya. They only become unmanifest. They remain in the account of the jivas. Some of them get exhausted during one birth, and the remaining, which are part of Karana Sharira, goes into a dormant stage at the time of Pralaya. And again, in the next cycle of creation starts, and again they get manifested. Jivas are born, karmas come back. Same karmas, huh? Each jiva has got separate account, no mixture. Separate account, that balances are reflected. So karmas gets manifested, get exhausted in the form of various experiences through the object created by Lord in these 6 stages. And thus these 6 stages are described in this mantra. And one more idea is given. And that is, before creation, there will be a desire to create, followed by visualization of the creation. Here, of course, the desire part is not talked about, which is talked about in Taittiriya Upanishad. Because any creation requires first for the creator to have a desire to create. Then visualization has to happen on the part of the creator. Take the case of a sculptor. There is a solid piece of rock. He sees, oh, beautiful piece of rock. He may visualize the idol of Krishna in that rock. But that is only visualization. After visualization, he needs to have a desire. When he has a desire to sculpt a Krishna idol from the rock, then he will start visualizing the details of that. What should be the height? Whether I should depict Krishna with the cow or Krishna without cow, or Krishna with Radha or Rukmani. Of course, normally Radha only. All this visualization has to take place, and then only he creates a plan in his mind to start sculpting. Similarly, in the case of a carpenter, he sees a log of wood. He has a desire to create a chair out of it. So he has to have the design of the chair in his mind before he starts making the chair. Similarly, a building requires first what they call, blueprint to be prepared, which is the visualization of the planned building. So like a sculptor, like a carpenter, like a builder, visualization precedes the creation. And after the desire becomes the visualization, sculptor says, okay, let me bring out that Krishna from this stone. So that visualization is mentioned here in this mantra as tapas. So visualization happens first, and then activation of avyakrita, and then sukshma prapancha, then sthula prapancha, etc. Creation comes about. This is described in this mantra. Now, let us see the words of the mantra. Have we read the mantra? Yes, I think so. Yeah. We read the mantra and I gave you the Padacheda also. Yeah. Because now it will be easy because most of the words we have already discussed. Tapasa chiyate brahma. That Brahman, which was called Akshara, that Brahman chiyate. In fact, this word chiyate also literally means increases, bulges, expands. Tapasa means through tapas, because of tapas. And here, tapas is not in the sense of doing some upasana, jagaranam, standing upside down or standing in one leg, etc. That is also tapas, which is described in the Shastra. But here, tapas is in the form of knowledge, jnanam. Jnanam of what? Jnanam of creation. So the knowledge of creation is called here tapas. Visualization of that creation. Visualization of the world which had happened earlier in the previous kalpas, in the previous cycles, and which is going to happen now. That is called here tapas. So now the question is, how does Brahman visualize? Because Brahman is nirguna nirakara. How can he visualize? He doesn't have any, we have already seen, adreshyam, agrahyam, all that. How can then Brahman visualize? So Brahman visualizes the world through Maya Upadhi. Like we visualize anything through our mind, through our Maya, Mana Upadhi. So for Brahman, what is the Upadhi? Maya is the Upadhi. What is mind for us is Maya for Brahman. And because of Brahman, because of tapas, Brahmachiyate. Here the word Brahma is not Akshara Brahman, but refers to Ishvara. Because in this Upanishad, the words Brahman and Ishvara will be used interchangeably. Because when we are talking in terms of creation, it becomes Brahman plus Maya. Whenever we use the word plus, we must remember that we are not talking of two entities, Brahman and Maya. Again, I am repeating. Just remember the example of person standing before the mirror, which we discussed earlier. Now, this visualization, this tapas, before creation, is a common theme in many Upanishads. In Taittiriya Upanishad also there is a mantra, which I said describes the process of creation with the desire. The mantra says, so kamayata. Kamayata means what? Saha kamayata means he desired. Bahusyam prajayeti. Sa tapotapyata. Sa tapastaptva. Idagum sarvam asrijata. So this is the mantra in Taittiriya Upanishad. So kamayata means he desired. Bahusyam prajayeti. Let there be numerous praja. Praja here refers to all the living and non-living being. Bahusyam. We can translate it as countless. So he desired. And what was his desire? Let there be countless living and non-living beings. Sa tapo tapyata. Then he did tapas. Means what? He visualized the creation. Tapas taptva. Having visualized the creation. Idagum sarvam asrijata. He created all that is there in this. All that is there here. So this visualization tapas is talked about in Taittiriya Upanishad also. So tapasa chiyate brahma. Now we saw the meaning of chiyate as increases, bulges or expands. What is the meaning of expanding or bulging? Does it mean Brahma chiyate means Brahman is expanding, bulging? Is it possible? As we saw, Brahman cannot expand. He can't bulge because he is sarvavyapi. Where will he? There is no space. Any small piece of space also Brahman is occupying. So Maya Sahitam Brahma also cannot expand or bulge. Therefore, Brahman cannot expand or bulge. In fact, we can see it from another angle also. In fact, space itself has not come because there is no creation. It is only visualization going on. Space is also a product of creation, and the creation has not yet begun. So how can Brahman expand or bulge? So here we have to understand that Chiyate is a figurative expression to show that visualization happens before creation. And Suti is little poetic here. Bhashyakara will make this idea more clear in his Bhashya. See, suppose a person has completed his education, got a good job, gets married. Now he is visualizing to be a father. Now with that thought, he becomes very happy because wife is pregnant. And when person is happy, generally what happens? Chest bulges out, isn't it? In fact, in Tamil, there is an appropriate expression. Avan purittu ponan. In fact, the word puri is a Hindi word. It is also derived from the pur dhatu rather. And in English also, there is an expression to describe a person who is proud of some achievement. We figuratively say, his chest swelled with pride. So bulging, expanding, swelling are words used to figuratively express a state of happiness. And generally, people have the desire for procreation. At least in the past, it was true. But now we are seeing the opposite trend nowadays. First of all, there is some resistance to get married by both the boys and the girls. Instead of getting married, they prefer to have what is called live-in relationship. And if they marry also, they don't want children. He said, all children giving birth and all, big headache. Then I have to take care of it. All fights. They have observed their parents and all other family members who are married and constantly fighting. We don't want to get into that. So instead of children, many of them prefer to have a dog or a cat as a pet. Oh, that is not our Indian culture. But our Indian culture is also contaminated. In fact, I was one small experience I will narrate and close the class. Recently, one of my relatives passed away. So, his son, organized, did all the karmas, everything, antyeshti karmas and all. And then the Shubhasvikar, 13th day function, what we call, that was there. And for that, he had sent an invitation. Of course, the son is married, he has got a child also, right? So he had sent an invitation to me. And in that, normally invitations, our invitations and all, we will invite everyone and say, with best compliments from, right? Names will be given of some of the important family members. So there he had given his name his wife's name, his brother's name. Brother is not married. His child's name. And also there was one name called Scooby. Now I was wondering, what is this Scooby? Then I realized Scooby is the name of his pet dog. So that dog is also considered, because before the child, the child was born, that dog was there as a pet. So that is now considered as a family member. Nothing wrong in that. What I'm saying is the sentiments are changing. In olden times, they will not allow a dog inside the house itself. And at least, in Orthodox houses, dog will not be allowed inside the house. In temples and all, dogs will not be allowed. But then things are changing. Our Indian culture is also becoming contaminated. People have got different ideas. All Kali Yuga Lakshana. We must satisfy ourselves by understanding that. Okay. We will stop and continue in the next class.
Om Purnamada Purnamidam
1 second. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Harihi Om. Thank you all very much. Dhanyavadaha,
Thank you very much, Guruji.
everyone.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು.
Hari Om.
Guruji,
Hari
Guruji,
Om. Hari Om.
before Mr. Sitaraman takes over, only one thing I want to mention.
Yeah.
We discussed so much about mother.
About what?
Mother.
Yeah.
When I went to Gaya to offer pindam, for mother alone, 27 pindams.
Correct. In fact, we thank every aspect,
Every stage.
every aspect of the contribution of the woman or the mother to our being what we are.
Nari
Not just,
Shakti.
it doesn't end at the birth, it continues.
No. Continues.
So that is something,
It was very touching when
very
the
touching.
Pandit
Very touching.
recites and
We must be
explains each
thankful,
month.
that is why all the Shraddha karmas and all, we must do with lot of Shraddha. In fact, you are saying this, today was my mother's Shraddham, morning I performed it. So, we have to, there is a person who doesn't care, he is a thankless person, I would call him a adharmic person rather. So when Gaya, I have also been to Gaya, and then we have done all the Pindadanam and all. That's why our culture teaches all these things, Unfortunately, there came a period where all this, knowledge, we lost all of them. And there has been a discontinuity. To some extent possible, some of us are all trying to sort of keep the fire burning, little bit.
True.
How long it will last, I don't know. But that's our contribution. Yeah, you are.
Thank you.
Hari
Thank you
Om.
very much, Guruji.
Thank
Namaskaram.
you. Namaskar. Yes, Sitaramji.
Namaskaram. Acha, the very first of the explanations that you gave was Avyakarita.
Avyakrita.
Avyakrita. Where in the slokam, where does it appear? I don't see it.
No, you don't see it in the slokam. So let me go to the mantra.
It starts with tapasa chiyate.
Tapasa chiyate brahma. Tataha annam abhijayate. So Avyakrita is not mentioned, you are right.
Yeah.
But the second stage is mentioned, tataha means from that.
Okay.
Annam abhijayate. So this we come to know from the Bhashya. Bhashyakara will explain.
Okay.
How this Avyakrita has to be assumed as the first stage.
Yeah. Okay.
Because every stage, two stages, A and B are mentioned.
Yes.
So that visualization itself is the first stage of this Maya getting ready to come to the second stage.
Okay.
So that is how it is. Bhashyakara will. When we see the Bhashyam, it will become clear to you.
Oh, okay. Okay. So
Okay.
because I was trying to read it.
No, you are right. You are right. I mean, Avyakritam, the word itself is not there.
Yeah.
But that is because Tataha is there from that.
Oh.
So from that itself means there is something proceeding, right? So we have to understand Avyakritam there.
Okay. Okay.
That is it. Okay.
Hari, Hari.
Hariji. Unmute yourself, please.
Hari Om Guruji.
Hari Om.
Can you explain once again kindly how this Panjabhuta is projected as Satyam?
See, the word Sat has got a meaning
Yeah.
in the Shastra as called Murta Bhutas. Murta Bhutas means out of the Panchabhutas, the Bhutas which we can see, perceive.
Yeah.
So those are which are the one? Agni, fire,
Agni,
water,
fire.
and earth we can see.
See.
So they are called Murta Bhutas. Murta means with form.
Okay.
Then Amurta Bhutas are the remaining two, Akasha and
Space and air.
air. They are Amurta, they don't have a form. We can experience it, but we can't see space. We can't see air. Isn't it?
Yeah.
So they are called Amurta Bhutas. And that the word for Amurta Bhutas in the Shastra is called Tyam. So Sat plus Tyam put together becomes Satyam. Which
What
is
does
the meaning?
Tyam mean?
Tyam means Amurta Bhutas.
Okay.
Yeah. That is there in the Shastra.
Okay.
Yeah. So Satyam means Sat plus Tyam, Murta Bhutas and Amurta Bhutas, which is Pancha Mahabhutas. All this Bhashyakara will explain in the Bhashyam when we see that.
Okay. Okay. So there will be further explanation on it.
Obviously, we are
Okay.
seeing the meanings of the mantra. We have not come to the Bhashyam.
Yeah.
Bhashyam, some more details will be added. Of course, what the meaning of the mantra also mostly all based upon the Bhashyam only. But it is not going to too many details with Bhashyakara will go into. Some of them will be repetitive. And I have actually, even my Guru Swami Sadatmananda made it repetitive because all these things, once, twice, thrice, it's been told for us to absorb that. Once you tell and then it is not enough, in children also we do, same thing we tell them 2, 3 times, then only it will go and they will do it. So that is why, in fact, Swami Paramathananda, he doesn't go into so many details giving. He gives the idea of the mantra briefly in his Bhashyam classes. And then he will go into the Bhashyam directly and explain everything there. But my Guru, he did it in 3 stages. That is, first the mantra, idea given, some brief explanation of the mantra, then Bhashyam, detailed explanation. So that is the style I have adopted. We will repeat many of these concepts. We'll add more details when we see the Bhashya. Okay.
Guruji, Swami Kridatmananda, he will be here in Hyderabad on 1st and 2nd.
Okay.
From Rishikesh.
Okay. Right. He's going to hold some talks.
Yeah. Brief satsang.
Okay.
Especially on 2nd, that is the Jayanti of can you hear me?
Yeah, Jayanti of
Jayanti of Shankaracharya.
oh Shankara Jayanti. Yeah.
It is on the 2nd.
Okay. I didn't notice that. I've been busy in so
Yeah.
many. But Swami Paramathananda is there in Coimbatore from 1st to 7th, I think, 6th or 7th.
What is he talking about?
He is taking Uddhava Gita and Aparoksha Anubhuti.
Uddhavadi.
Oh, great.
Morning and evening. Morning
Morning.
one text, evening one text.
Oh, great, great.
That is it. Okay. Anything else?
No.
Nothing. Okay. Hari Om. Thank you
Very
all.
much, Guruji. Thank you very much. Today's is a very, very thought-provoking session. Requires revision and re-revision and re-revision to
Yeah,
understand the different new terms, and it's like doing medicine and reproductive like obstetrics in a mega magnum way. How the world is created is so beautiful.
That is
Thank you.
Hari Om.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Hari Om Guruji. Hari Om.